Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network 105.3 and 107.7 FM New Orleans. Thank you for being part of the show. Thank you for being here today. Without you guys, it just wouldn't be the same. It just would not be the same. I'm really looking forward to today's guest. I felt like I was going to be, it felt like Christmas morning all day. I was excited about it, thinking about it. I was leaving myself little notes everywhere to make sure that I didn't let my ADHD brain rule so that we didn't go sideways all day today in the segment that I've got planned for you guys. So please welcome to the show, Dale Quigley and Michael John of the Paranormal Voice.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Is anybody in there?
Anybody there? Are you here now? We're all good.
Hey, how's it going?
Like live in 3D. I have been waiting for this. Like, as soon as you guys agreed to come on, I was like a little kid. And I waited because, Michael John, I wanted to make sure that I had read your book before I brought you on. I wanted to be able to, have a different perspective of who you are. When we have our podcasts, people see a sliver of who we are, right? And some people get an idea maybe of who we are just from that sliver. And there's so much more. We're all multifaceted beings, right? So there's so much more to us than just what they see when we're in the podcast.
Well said, actually, for sure. There's so many factors to an individual, right? So much background, and it's such a small scale from a show perspective. I love that you put it that way. We don't really think about that a lot. I mean, I'm guilty of it for sure. There's so much more to the human being than just the podcast itself, for sure.
Yeah. And so many things that affect us, right? So many things that influence us and change us. And I love this. Like, I love the friendship that the two of you have. And I was talking about it with my friend, my bestie, right? That shows up for everything and supports me in such a beautiful way. And we talk about being soulmates. Like, we are those friends that just know each other really well, and we can support each other unconditionally. And we don't have very many places where we have that unconditional support and unconditional love, right? And I enjoy watching you guys together because of that.
I appreciate that. It means a lot. That you even pay attention to us. I mean, I look at us and I'm just kind of like, who'd listen to us? You know how it is. We're all, and you and I spoke about this, Carrie Lynn, the whole imposter syndrome, so that means a lot to hear that from you. Thank you very much. And Dale and I, this guy, when we met, it was 5th grade. And I mean, from the minute we were standing in line, because you had to stand in line when the bell rang to go in, he was in front of me, if I'm not mistaken. My memory, don't ask me what happened 5 minutes ago. 1985, I'll tell you down in the eye blink. And Dale was in front of me, and he turned around and, hi, who are you? Hi, who are you? Oh, it's my 2nd year in grade 5. Oh, mine too. Yes, we both failed that year, the year before. So we're doing round 2. But my point is this: landing the plane, instead of giving the 8 million hours of this story, because it's a hell of a story, but we just connected like that. It was like we had never not spoken to each other.
It's amazing because I think I read somewhere that if you were friends with somebody longer than 7 years, then this is a friendship that is going to last the long haul. So if you make it past that 7 years, I think I read that about marriage too, and that's when I got divorced. But we don't need to go there.
Curse that word.
We don't need to include that part.
Knowing Michael John as long as I have, like I said, I could never picture life without him. Like, it's just one of those natural things that we grew together, and then common interests, and we both influenced each other to do different aspects of our lives. I mean, I introduced him to professional wrestling, and then he introduced me to into the paranormal investigation realm. So it was kind of very unique how we kind of influenced each other with stuff that we had interest in. I mean, I've always
Right.
been interested in the paranormal, but I never knew much about the paranormal until Michael John brought me on my first paranormal investigation, and then it was just like it was like a drug that I had to have constantly.
And the paranormal is one of those things. The word I wrote down, because in my ADHD brain, I have to make sure that I write notes or it's just going to go sideways, right? So that was one of the things I wrote down was vulnerability. There's paranormal or liking those things. I mean, when you already, I felt like a weird kid. So then when you have those outside experiences, because I've seen people that are crossed over from the time I was very little. So I kept that really tight to myself and didn't make that, as publicly known till much later when my kids were having experiences. In order for them to feel secure in who they were, I stepped out of that witchy woo closet. But until then, it was just like the weird stuff that I was interested in. And there was a select few. So when we do that, having those safe places and building a safe community is so important.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think I've ever told anybody my ghost stories. Michael John was the very first person to ever hear my very first paranormal experience. And after that, it was just like all downhill. Like I was so open and relieved that I can actually tell my story, because it was something I could never talk about when I was a kid, because nobody would understand. They'd be like, it's all your imagination. Just
Yeah.
go do something else.
Well, and that's definitely something that I had heard, right? And so keeping it to myself. And when, I don't know what your, backgrounds were like and your childhoods were like, but definitely for us, there was just a lot of dysfunction. And there was like, keep what happens at home in the house. We don't talk about it outside. And that was outside of the house. And so that was kept very close. I'm just going to take a second to make sure that we say hi to all the people that are showing up, because you guys have some fans hanging out.
Fans? No, we don't call them fans. We call them our we call them the TPV
buddies.
Nation.
Oh, your Lunker Nation. Oh my God.
No. The TPV Nation. That makes up the creeps, the freaks, and the weirdos. Lunker Nation is a side project, side group. Thanks to the one and only Timothy Shaw. He created that, showing up.
Oh,
fitness,
yeah.
Health, mental health, all the above. It's a wonderful thing. We have a lot of guys involved in that as well. I'm happy to see. I saw that. Mr. Cummings, hashtag Lunker Nation. I love that guy.
Let's put it back up. Oh, do you guys see it? I saw it. Oh, there we go.
There he is.
There we go.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, that's his lovely wife, Amy.
Okay, Amy. Sorry, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
But Jason and like I said,
Thank you.
It's
Hi, Julie.
Hello, Julie.
Hello.
Contessa, thank you for being here.
What a great name, Contessa. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Denise.
Hello.
And the lovely Kim.
Oh, come on.
Kim,
So
Sage.
Kim,
High sign.
Now we know
There
we go. There we go.
So Kim has also been on the show as well too. So if you guys search through any of the archives, we are on YouTube, Roku, anywhere where you listen to podcasts. The main streaming podcast places you're going to find Spirit Switchboard through the UPRN network, and on YouTube, Spirit Switchboard has its own channel as well too.
Nice. No, I love Kim. I just got to hang out with her again up in Virginia. Her and her husband, like I said, dude, she is such an amazing lady. I was so glad that I was able to meet up with her.
That was the Sage Paracon, correct?
Yes.
Amy's just saying Jason is watching with me. Jason is.
Both.
Yep, Jason is saying hello to my boys. It's nice.
What's up, Jay?
Good trap master, Jason.
Loretta, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Hello, Loretta.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle.
Michelle is always involved in the conversation, has some great questions. So let's see what she's going to hit you guys up with.
Absolutely.
Vulnerability was definitely one of the first words that I had wrote down in creating that community. I would say too, when we step out, like stepping out and starting a podcast, stepping out and writing a book, there's bravery in that. Like, we are announcing to the world, this is who we are and what we align with. And like I paused for a second, so yay me for pausing. But I'm still gonna go there. My mom used to say to me all the time, why do you gotta stop and say hello to everybody in the parking lot? Why do you gotta stop and say hello? And I'm like, and so, but that quality of who I was as a kid, as a teenager, and now as an adult is part of what I do. Communication is such a big part of what I do, right? So those things that we may have felt insecure about is definitely a part of what our strengths are and what we end up using later, right? So, how have you found, like, what have you noticed that how you have grown by stepping out of the woo-woo closet, by being more vocal about, who you are and what your beliefs are, and starting the podcast? We'll get to the book in a minute, Michael John, but we'll start with the podcast first. Like,
okay, so do you want Dale to answer or me? Who do you want?
Dale, let's start with you first.
Okay, yeah, no, starting the podcast was definitely a big step outside my comfort zone, because I'm very a person that doesn't really like to talk about myself or be the center of attention on anything. I like
Right.
to be always the behind the guys type of person. So I'm very grateful that Michael John actually dragged me to the beginning of what became the Paranormal Voice. He was actually being interviewed on another show. Uh, asked his one buddy Pat to go, but for some reason that didn't work out. And this is where I say things happen for a reason.
100%.
So Michael John called me up and goes, "Hey, I got to go do this interview. You want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I wasn't even expecting to be a part of the interview. I was just gonna go and hang out and listen to him tell his stories, because, like I said, he's got fascinating stories. And so I went there. They go, "Do you want to be a part of this?" I was like, "Yeah, okay," And that was really the beginning, and it just clicked in my mind. It was the first time I've ever done or really openly talked about the paranormal to basically the world, or the YouTube world. And something just clicked, and it was just felt so natural. And then after that interview was done, we were just sitting around talking, and it just became something. And I think the passion has grown even more to be able to go outside my own comfort zone and kind of force me to really approach people and talk to people. And this is what Michael John's really great at, is he's not a shy person at all. He'll go talk to grandmama down there just to get her story. Where me, it's kind of like I'm kind of standoffish at first, but once I get rolling, once I open up, then it becomes a very good thing. And then for me, it's really helped me outside, even with my mental health. It's kind of just makes me feel a little bit better about myself, and not feeling like that weird little kid that was in the playground going, why do I see things, or why do I hear things that other kids are not seeing or hearing?
Right. So when did you consciously make that connection that you were connecting to the other side? How old would you?
I was 8 years old when I had the experience that is the most memorable experience of my whole journey. Uh, so what happened to me was I had a family member that passed away the night before his funeral. I remember hearing a noise, and I kind of sat up in my bed, and there they were in my bedroom door. And I asked them what they were doing. They said, I had just come to say goodbye. And I said, oh, where are you going? They said, I don't know. I said, well, are you coming back? And they said, I don't know. So he goes, but I have to go now. And I was like, all right. And I he turned around and walked away, and I got out of bed. And by the time I got to my door, he was gone. And I was like, was that real? Did I just imagine that? But at the same time, I stepped on a puddle of water that was in my doorway of my bedroom. Now,
Interesting.
the significance of the water is that this family member drowned.
Interesting. I'm very
So
sorry.
that was,
But how amazing
thank
that
you.
you were open. How amazing that you were open-minded to have that experience, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't shut it down out of fear right away.
Well, well, it was confusing to me because I didn't understand. I was like, it took me a long time to process. And even when I was at the funeral, I did not dare to say anything to anybody about what I just experienced because,
Right.
like with my family, they would have just thought, "Oh, right, there goes Dale being that weird little kid again,
Right.
thinking he's talking to a dead person." So I never said anything for, like I said,
Right.
for a very long time until Michael John was the one who told me what he was doing, and then I think it was the first time we hung out after that. I was like, "Man, do I got to tell you this story?" And that's when I told him the story, and it was like a big, huge relief
Right.
of getting that off of my chest because for the first time in my life, I could tell somebody and not worry about them judging who I was.
Right.
So, like I said, that
Do you
whole
feel,
experience was unique.
thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Do you feel that once you shared that, it felt more like you were able to just be yourself? Like there's a relief to that, a weight off of your shoulders?
Oh yeah, because I mean, I was in my 30s when I was able to tell this story, and this was
Wow.
from 8 years old. So,
Wow.
like I said, I never really knew anybody, and I never knew what a paracon was, and I never knew anybody in the paranormal field. So that's the one thing I truly love about going to paracons is that you are in a building filled with like-minded people and nobody's judging you. Everybody will listen to your story and not try to tell you that you're wrong, you're right, because in this field, like these are your experiences. So what is it to people to tell you that it's a
Mhm.
wrong because they
Yeah.
weren't there when it happened, so they can't tell you yes or no.
Yeah.
Just some of the stories you hear, you're kind of going like, wow, that sounds pretty far-fetched. But at the same time, you're like, well, we don't know what the capabilities of what the other side can really do at this point.
That's
I
right.
mean, if they can go in and out or come to visit or move things, it's like they're anything is really possible. So anybody who tells us a
Yeah.
story while we're at these events, it's like, wow, that is amazing, and glad you shared that story with us. And
Right.
that's really what gets us over and getting out there to hear everybody else's story. And then it also helps me at the same time going, wow, okay, this person experienced something similar. So now I could have somebody who I can bounce what happened to me. And together we can work out, oh, maybe this is a reason why it happens.
Right. And again, it comes back to that vulnerability because now you are holding space for someone else to feel safe to be vulnerable, to share what they experienced, right? So it always comes around full circle, which is beautiful. I don't particularly feel there's an expert anywhere. Like there's people who
No.
have lots of experiences and more than maybe what we have, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert either. Like there's some, because I'm still learning every day is something new. So Michael John, could you share a bit about that path as well too, like maybe how you have grown since starting and taking ownership of stepping out of that in a more public way and starting the podcast, how you may have grown?
Yeah, of course. I'm, to a fault, a very self-centered, egotistical person.
Right.
And thanks to doing what we've been really fortunate to do and experience on this journey that we're doing, Dale and myself together, meeting different people, making incredible friends that we've never dreamt in a million years. Our friends, and a couple are mentors now and stuff like that. And I'm not going to name drop because there's no point in doing that. That's ego in itself, in my opinion. However, I've learned to, be humble and be grateful for what I have and not take it for granted. I've done that a lot in my life, but this situation here, doing with a lifelong best friend, one thing is amazing in itself. We had sleepovers together, many different journeys and experiences together. Now we're doing this. There's blood, sweat, and tears, if you will, doing this. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm sure you get it, Carrie Lynn. I'm sure people watching get it. Even doing a podcast, there's some trials and tribulations, but you get humbled. Yeah, I've been humbled in so many ways. I mean, it took me a long time to write that book, and I finally said whatever it takes, and I hunkered down. That's another thing too. If we talk about, we all have mental health issues, whether it's paranoia, psychosis. These are things I struggle with. That's from years of cocaine use, almost 30 years.
Wow.
And this journey here, the Paranormal Voice, and all that helped me to shut that off, and that's a whole other chapter in my life. There's a bit of it in my book, but anyways, land the plane. Sorry, when we get talking about this stuff, I go in a million directions. I'm trying to stay.
It's all good.
Keep my stick on the ice, man.
It's all good.
So, just we've met so many people, and like Dale says, we get to share our story, but more importantly, we get to hear other people's story, and that's the bomb part of having a table at these events, man. Meeting people face to face for the first time, and then all of a sudden there's a relationship with them up the road, like the Cummings, Jason and Annie. We met them and we started sharing stories, and now like we can't shake each other. We're all stuck to each other, and that's a
right.
Just an example. The Kimberly Sages, you yourself. We've shared some stories already, Carrie Lynn, you and I, and that's what it's about. Being vulnerable and putting that on the table, saying, hey, here go I. This is what I've done. This is what I've experienced. You don't think I'm a nut. You don't think I'm anything. You accept me. And what Dale was saying too, I'm going to touch on. Yeah, who's to say someone's story? Okay, yeah, it might be far-fetched, but you know what? It's their experience, and they're putting their cards on the table and allowing themselves to be vulnerable and sharing that with you. You weren't there. Who's to say that didn't happen? At the end of the day, it did happen. They had an experience.
Yeah.
So
we just hope that there's a camera and we're not shaky at the time if we're taking pictures.
That's
what we want at the end of the day.
Microphone for all that, but yeah, it's made me dumb down my ego, and I fight with that every day. I really do. But the humble, and just like, wow, this is happening. This is amazing. Like right here, right now. Enjoy the moments. This is a moment right here, right now. Thank you. You know what I mean? Thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. Like honestly, it was a kid like Christmas. I was counting it down. Couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. And again, it's because it's like you're connecting with somebody who understands the language, has had similar experiences, is not going to judge, will play nice in the sandbox. that kind of feeling. And people don't I don't think they give enough attention to the need for us as adults to have that friendship and community. And, you get so focused on the daily responsibilities and obligations that you forget about those little things that bring you joy. And so even like, this is kind of how I look at the podcast. I mean, I've been very blessed to be able to work as a full-time medium for almost 18 years. So it is full-time. This is all I have done for the last while, 17 years ish. Not very many people get to have their passion and their purpose be their profession. And
Right.
and when we get to step into doing that a little bit more, it's very exciting where our passion gets to be part of our profession as well too. And it is humbling and exciting. And I find what I enjoy about it the most is hearing people's stories, but how much I learn. Like I'm learning every time there's a new podcast, every time I have a new guest, I'm learning something new, and that's exciting, that opportunity, right? And even like how the people in the chat room respond and the people in the chat ask questions or comment, like we're learning from them too. Everyone that's here and participating is engaging in what we're doing, right? And that's so awesome. Hi, Fiona. I'm glad that you made it here.
Hello, Fiona.
Hello.
Amy is just sharing, being able to share your story without judgment is a miracle for mental health. Agreed.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Aw, thanks, Michelle. She is saying, our trailblazers, we salute you.
Oh, thank you.
Kim Sage is sharing, I've been able to fully embrace my weird, unique self because of this community.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're just booting down. I wanted to double check my list so I didn't go sideways too much. And we've done so good. One of the things, okay, I'm going to show your book, Michael John, because we're going to talk about synchronicities in a second. So I waited to invite you guys on until I had the opportunity to read your book. So Michael John's Paranormal Ghost Stories. I did have the link in the description, so maybe we can drop that link in the comments for people as well too. One of the things, there's just so much. There was a lot to unpack. And I liked at the beginning where you talk about it being just your stories and being able to share your stories. And like you did for Dale, and now Dale holds that space. As soon as we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we gift that opportunity for other people to be vulnerable and share back with us. And that is amazing, right? So the synchronicities. Oh, sorry. My squirrel on Red Bull already kicked in. Here we go. It was about trust. What I think I came away with the most after reading all of the book was trust. When we have these experiences and we just go with it. We've had this experience and it's our truth. We learn to trust more in that experience, and that we are not alone, and that there is more than what we understand just in our everyday 3D world, that there is more. And the more that we trust, the more we get. So one of the questions, before sharing too much that's in the book, because we want people to buy the book, so we're not going to share everything that's in that book because we want them to buy the book, is after sharing, have you found those, for both of you, but we'll start with Michael John, in sharing the stories, have you had even more happen? In sharing the synchronicities, in sharing this is your story, have you noticed more coming to you? Is it awareness, or is it the universe responding to the vibration that you're now putting out?
What a great question. And I say great question because, well, it is. I think it's a little bit of both. The universe responds in so many ways. It's and that's the big manifestation, how we manifest. You put it out there and things start happening. You and I, Carrie Lynn, backstage before Dale came and joined us, experienced a couple synchronicities while we were talking. It's that fast. You put it out there and boom, boom. Oh my God, I was just going to say that. Oh my God, the name Leo, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
3 factions of Leo popped up. Holy cow, you know?
Yeah.
So yes, the universe definitely does get involved. And also, yes, things are still happening. I have an amazing mask here that what's the word? Sorry, I lost the words. Someone had sent me a message on Facebook. I'm trying to use too big of words, I guess. Let's dumb it down. And they said, I have this mask I've had for almost 30 years, and it's got some history behind it. Paranormal wise, I know you're into that stuff. If you'd like it, you know, you can have it. So he gave me a big long blurb about things that had happened to it. So I grabbed it, and right when I had it in the car on the way home, I was already talking to him. His name's Hunahana. He's like, I'm 5'4". He's like half my height. It's a big mask, a big wooden carved mask from a Filipino tribe. I can't remember the name, but after about 3 days, nothing was happening. So I was like, hey, I give you permission. Let me know you're around. And then, so I'm working on another book. I don't know when that'll be, but there's a chapter based on this mask. And there's so much stuff. Poor Dale could probably recite the chapter too. He's heard about it so much. But the point is this. I have disembodied voices in here. I hear my name on occasion. It doesn't happen every day. I'd be full of beans, man, if I said it was every day. It happens when it wants to. You can't time frame these guys. They come around when they want, right?
Well, we still have to have an everyday life.
Yeah.
We still have to do all of those other things. So, I mean, people have a weird concept of what it would be like to be a medium full time too, right? There's.
Yeah, you gotta close it. So I have a few things there. I have some graveyard dirt, some goofer dust in hoodoo. That's what they call that. I have that. I purposely have mirrors across from each other to open a portal. I put things around on purpose, and Dale knows, and Dale can back this story up because he lived it. Again, this is all answering your question, Carrie Lynn, is it still happening? So I lit some incense, and I was talking to my ancestors and the spirit guides and my spirit friends and Archangel Michael. That's my go-to guy. All that, make things happen. I got both hands on the mirrors. I'm trying to charge them up. And then I let it go. Then Dale came here for a show one night. I'll actually let Dale finish this part of the story. Dale, what happened when you were here that night?
I think it was just after the show was getting done, and all of a sudden I just heard this noise out of the kitchen, and I thought, well, it's because he's got two cats, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be the cats in there. Look to my right, and then all of a sudden, nope, the cats are sleeping right there, and I was like, what the hell was that? And I looked at him. He goes, you heard that? And I was like, yeah, what is that? And by the way, I think I gotta go.
But why? Why would you want to?
Right. That's how it is here, but it's cool, right? My point, it's like it still happens. Absolutely, has it picked up a bit? From time to time, it comes in waves. I can't say it's like escalate like crazy, but it comes in waves, right?
Right.
For me here, but I also, I'm that guy. And it's mentioned in the book. I mean, I've done invocation, evocation, conjuring, all here in this apartment. Much to the succumb of my wife at the time, who was an avid Catholic. This was after our ghost hunting group had separated. I still had the bug. I'm the guy that wants to push the envelope as far as you can, and then push it past that. And I'm sure many people relate to that line right there. I've done a few things in this place. So there's always something around. There's shadow figures here on occasion as well. I recently, my one cat was feeling ill, so I brought her to the vets, and I have a cat. I saw it first time as a shadow, and then it's more of the form of a cat. So a shadow up in the hallway from where I'm from right now, and then in the kitchen the one day I saw it's like a black cat with a green cat with black stripes, I think, and then there was a third one. That was just last week. Again, just running up the hall, I just catch it, But that's, I don't know, I maybe followed myself and the cat home from the vets after, she had spent a few days, right. So there's always something going on. Is it escalated? Well, yeah, maybe to a degree, or maybe it's just ongoing.
I think paranormal experiences are those ones that are the hit and miss as well, too. They're going to happen when they're going to happen. Yeah. But synchronicities are totally it's when you're driving down our 401 series or our 400 series, and you're thinking about somebody, and then you see their name on the back of a transport as it's going by. You know what I mean? I find that the synchronicities happen more and more. The name Leo that came up today, because that was something that I was working on earlier today, actually. Yes. And and then that name is coming up in the book when we're talking about it. So I just find it interesting. And I think too, when you shift like the more you learn and the more you have accountability with your healing, that when you're stepping into the paranormal, it shifts your vibrational level and even more stuff starts to happen. So you can't go backwards once you're in.
Nope.
You just keep wading forward, right?
You know what's interesting? I'm going to share the story. So a friend of mine, Prairie, her and I, we like to go for rides out in the county. You know, like all of us, look for a graveyard here or there. So one of the first times we were out, there was a billboard and it had the word dream on it. And I say to her, just in jest, just as, you know, watch this. I go, you see the word dream? I'm going to put the radio on and we're going to hear the word dream. So I turned my radio on in my car, and I have one of our favorite bands is Godsmack. So there's a song on, and he goes, it's right at the verse. And I'm getting so excited. I'm just pointing at the radio. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, and he's going, demons dreaming, knowing I. So there's the word dream right there. And she was like, holy shit. Oh, sorry. Holy cow. So,
Shite.
Yes, that too. I'm so sorry. I get excited about these stories.
Yeah, but that's it, right? And I think that, is it that we're manifesting it? Is it that we're vibrating at that level? Or we just, you know, I think we're in constant co-creation with the universe. So once we get it, then we're in that creative, like, creation moment with them, faster, easier. We notice it more, and it's really, it's amazing. So Dale, do you find that with you too? Like, once you started sharing and noticing that, even more started to happen for you?
The more that I opened up and more accepting of who I was and my abilities and everything else. I mean, I think this whole journey really amped itself up was last year. I think it was me and Michael John, who actually had our third eye opened by Andrea Perrin. And
are you comfortable to share that full story, because it's a good one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, there's no story that I'm not willing to tell. I mean, but so I mean, with Andrea Perrin, I mean, me and her, I've been friends with Andrea now for I think we were talking about this like over 8 years now, and she is an amazing woman. And anybody who has met Andrea or knows Andrea, it is like she walks into the room and her energy will just draw you into her. She is such an amazing person. I just love her to death. So I never knew anything about the third eye. Like, I've heard about it and stuff like that, but never really looked into it. So
because honestly,
when
it sounds very fairy. Like, I even feel uncomfortable saying third eye. Like, it just.
Right. I love that.
That's spot.
But yeah, no, it does sound like something weird. It's like, well,
Yeah.
is this like you're actually waiting for a third eye to actually pop out of your head and go
Right.
blink blink. But yeah, no, it was just like, so we were at the UFO Contact Convention, one of our held by our good friends RJ and Deb DeRoos with Mike Smith. Like I said, it's an amazing event, and so we were there. It was our first time at the UFO Contact Convention, and so we were just sucking it all in, because the energy, the atmosphere, the people. So that it was day 2, and so Andrea was up there speaking, and so anybody who's been at a Paracon with Andrea Perrin is. So she'll go outside in the evening, and she's got a really close connection with the Galactic family. So she goes out there and she does the singing, and she'll raise her hands. So it's a really amazing event, just being around her while she's doing this. But during her speaking, she goes, "If anybody wants their third eye open, come and see me, and she goes, I can open it." So I wasn't really thinking about it. Then Michael John's like, "Oh, we got to do this." I was like, Michael John's the first one to sign up for everything. If they said, we're going we're going out to the woods to look for Bigfoot. Michael John would be the first one to go, all right, bags are packed, let's go.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but so I'm like, okay, this is what this journey is about. It's about experiencing as much as you possibly can, because there's a reason why we're there. There's a reason why things happen. There's a reason why the Paranormal Voice has become such an amazing place to be, because we've created a space where we're not judgmental. We want people to tell their stories, but at the same time, we want to give people that experience of being able to be themselves. So when Andrea so we're all lined up and we're overlooking the water. Her back is turned to the water. So you walk up to her and she goes, "Are you ready for this? Because once you do this, you cannot undo this."
Yes.
And then your mind for a split second goes, "Do I really want to do this?" But that's when I think your guides and your angels and the universe goes, "Yes, you want this."
Well, and you're standing in front of a
yes.
whole bunch of people not wanting to look like the dork that taps out either. So you're kind of like in it now. So
Yeah, it's like you want to sit at the front of the roller coaster,
yeah.
but you really don't want to sit at the front of the roller coaster, because if you chicken out, everybody's going to laugh at you. But yeah, from the moment she puts her hands on you, her energy just enters your body, and I describe it like a battery, like a dead battery, going from empty to full. You feel it right from your head to your toe. So it was this thing, and she started chanting this words, and she was rubbing the center of my forehead as well as the back of my head. And then she goes, don't hold back. Just let it go. Just let it happen. Because I started to feel what felt like a burning sensation in the dead center of my forehead. And she goes, don't resist. Just go. And she goes, you will never experience anything the same again. And at first you're like, okay, what does that mean? But I think as soon as we got back to our room, it was like the whole world felt different. The energy of the world felt lighter. And I just felt more at peace. I think I actually sat there and I cried for a few minutes.
Right.
And because it just felt like it was what I needed to do to further who I was and to understand who I was. So it was definitely an experience. And I tell people, like, if you've not done it, do it. But most of all, like, just like I said, to be around Andrea, who is such a sweetheart of a woman and a true energy. Like I said, it's just hard to describe. And like I said, I'm so happy that I did what I did, and life has not been the same, and so much more has opened up, and being able to recognize things and to be able to see and to hear differently than what I've ever done before. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yep,
That's
100%.
that's how I experience it. Now, I'm sure Michael John's experience was a little bit different, but that's the whole thing. That's the paranormal field, is everybody can do the same thing, but we don't experience it the same way. And that's the amazing part about it all.
Even with accepting or integrating, when somebody offers a healing or an opening or an integration, a vibrational integration, we're all going to experience different, because we've had a different path, we've had a different journey, we've had different experiences and traumas and belief systems. Like, everyone is going to be different. And I understand, like, that little divot, that where the occipital bone is at the back, and here are directly connected, right? So if you go from here to here, this is actually it's called mouth of God chakra. So our communication comes in from here, and this opens this at the same time. So you'll get more integration with communication and sight at the same time. And then when you cross, right, where your clairaudience, like those chakras from here to here and from here to here, and that center is your pineal gland, and it just clears. It sounds like she just cleared it all for you. It's great. It's amazing.
That was a lot of big words.
Yeah.
I was
awesome.
for the show.
It was awesome, though.
Just to answer Jason's question, I'm not sure if he's talking about the alien connection thing or the third eye thing.
So just
I know.
Audio, sorry, hon. Sorry for just 1 second. For audio listeners, because 80% of the listeners are audio and don't watch the videos. So Jason is just asking, is this something Andrea does at all of the events that she goes to?
I believe all you have to do is just talk to her. I can't speak on her behalf if she does it at all the events. I know she does it at the UFO Contact Convention for sure. As far as what she does up at the MI Paracon, I know she goes outside and she does her communication with the Galactics at the MI Paracon outside. That usually happens Saturday night.
I know. I think I missed it. I think Mel Willis is in the chat room. I'm sorry, Mel, if I missed you, but I did see you. Mel is one of the organizers for. There she is. She is one of the organizers of the Lake Superior Paracon that's happening in October. We're all going. You guys and myself will be there.
Absolutely.
So Mel is saying she opens the third eyes at the Michigan Paracon. And actually, I heard about this through Mel, and what Andrea does in going outside. Mel is the first person to talk to me about that.
Yeah, yeah, we're so grateful to Mal and Gail for including us into their event. I mean, we're excited because it's the first time we're actually going to be doing something in our home country of Canada,
right?
To be at an event.
Yes.
So yeah.
Oh, Mel is
quite
just
exciting.
So for those people in the chat, Mel is saying they have a video of it on their YouTube, which is Lucky Paranormal. Mel, maybe you could put the link in the chat for the people that are in the chat with you so they can link over to it.
Now, I wonder what Dorito, because I think they were the ones who captured, if it was during the Galactic thing, I think they were the ones who caught something really interesting happening up in the sky while Andrea was doing her thing. It was.
Thank you. I know you wrote about it in your book, Michael John. Did you not? About opening it up and taking a picture. Do you want to share that story about having your third eye open?
Absolutely. Are you kidding? Of course, love to. So, we're gonna go back in time a bit. So about a month before the UFO contact, roughly a month before, I had my first sleep paralysis experience.
Oh.
And so I dream a lot. Where I'm for example, one thing, I'm in the same house all the time. I know the carpets, I know the wood paneled walls, I know the diamond wood windows, I know the rooms inside of the rooms, I know the stairs, all that stuff. I've never seen this house in my waking life. And it's as vivid, I do a lot of vivid, maybe astral travel, out of body. I'm not sure what it is. It's just very vivid, a lot of these dreams. The lights never work. Eventually I get outside of this house and I end up in the neighborhood. And when I'm out in a neighborhood, it's always a dark, dreary, rainy day. There's black trees, there's no leaves on them. And I love days like that in the waking world. I love days like that. I love sunny days, but I love the dreary days more. It's just me, rainy days. Anyway, so Dale mentioned, so when we first did the show, there was 4 of us. There was 2 ladies. And in this dream, I have a bracelet on and I'm attached by a cord. And there's one of the women that was on the show with us. Her and I lock eyes, and as soon as we lock eyes, I'm in this forest as black as night. But if this makes sense, I can see the trees. Okay, the cord is snapped. She's gone, and there's a 6-armed being in front of me, about 7-8 feet tall. It's got this long face, like a long face. But the interesting thing, there's no mouth, there's no eyes, there's no nothing. It's just blank. It's just like a long face. I'm terrified, and I'm saying, "No, go away." Here's where I realize something's not right. I sound like the Tin Man asking, "Oil can," but I'm going, "No, go away." Right? I can't open my mouth, and I want to punch it, and it's like I can feel my arm it's like backward slow motion. That's all I can describe it. And then I wake up, and I'm like, "Wow," And then I shared the story with Dale, and we were still with the girls at the time, and it was interesting. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, we go to the UFO contact convention, and they're like, if there's anybody here that has a weird story or maybe an encounter or an experience, an abduction they've never shared before, they want to, here's your time to do it. They got the panel up there. They got Reverend Michael Carter from Ancient Aliens, Deb and RJ DeRoos, 2 of the hosts of UFO Contact, Andrea Perrin's up there herself. So I, unaccustomed to public speaking as I am, I'm like, okay, So I share that story, and they're literally passing the microphone back to each other going, I don't know what that creature is. So then the guy hosting this portion of the events, Tim Ellis, who, as a side note, is one of the hosts of the MI Paracon.
Yeah.
But very knowledgeable in everything A to Z paranormal, of course, passionate like most of us about everything. He goes, okay, so we don't know what this being is, and that's okay because there's so many we probably haven't ever encountered. What's interesting to Michael's story is he's in a place that's familiar to him, that's repetitive. And a lot of us will experience that. He goes, what we need to look out for is when we're in these dreams. Okay, so in this place here where I'm at, there's that tapestry of the skeleton man behind me. For some reason, one time when I dreamed, let's say the tapestry isn't there. There's glitches. As perfect and as brilliant as these beings are, they make mistakes. It could be something as simple as an outlet. Let's say, let's not even worry about the tapestry. It could be an outlet, right? So anyways, later on, Michael Carter came up to me and he's like, you're an experiencer, don't you? Oh, I hit puberty there. I go, no. Okay. Wow. I don't really watch those shows. It's not really my thing, I mean, I'm into it, but I've never gone out of my way. So this is where it gets interesting. So then they're going, you need to get your third eye opened by Andrea. What? Conjure a demon? Yeah, let's go. Okay, like Dale was saying, So I was all about it. So I went there, and they start telling me certain people, before I even see her, they're planting seeds. Like, I don't know. They're just like, your life's never going to be the same. Oh, I'm looking out, out of the corner, like, oh, okay. Yeah, there's that bit of doubt, of course. So even she's telling you sure you want to do this? Your life will never be the same. And unlike Dale said, there's no turning back from this. Yeah, okay. We're in front of the lake at this point. So she's hugging me. She's kissing my forehead. I don't remember what she was saying. I'm sorry, But and that went on for, could have been 30 seconds, could have been 10 minutes. Then when she's done, she's like, how do you feel? And honestly, I was like, oh, I feel okay. I don't really feel any different. She goes, take your camera, turn the flash off, and point it to the sky and start just randomly taking photos.
Right.
So I got the weirdest light anomalies, and I brought them back to her, and she made everybody come over. Come see this. Come see what they're doing with him and doing to him.
Right.
I'll send it to you so you can see it, Carrie Lynn. So things go on for a little bit after. So I have a dream. Here's where it's a long story, so bear with me. And it's amazing what it's done for me. I promise you when we get there, as we get there. So
you do not need to apologize for anything. It's a great story, and I asked for it.
Okay. Thank you. I have another crazy dream. I don't know. I'm in single digit age, 3 to 4 years old, approximately. I'm standing on a bunk bed. And next to me are 3 beings. And they all have jet black hair. It's parted down the middle. It's going down past their shoulder length. They're all wearing what look like graduation gowns, and I believe they were baby blue. I wake up and I was like, oh, right away, Dale, guess what? You know, Dale hears everything. I mean, he's right as soon as I wake up. I'm still in bed talking, you know what I mean? No, but and then I document stuff immediately too, because I forget, like we say.
Yes.
I always do talk to text. I send myself messages on Facebook because I'm paranoid that someone will somehow, some way steal my story. But this way here, it's time dated and time stamped. Right? Anyways, that's my weirdness. Anyway, that night, synchronicities now. Carrie Lynn, synchronicities. In my Facebook news feed, don't I see a picture of one of these beings? Or very similar. And guess who's posting it? Reverend Michael Carter from Ancient Aliens. Now we're friends, right? So I'm like, Michael, what is that being? Well, who is that? Oh, that's one of the versions of the Palladian race. Oh my God, you know. I tell him my story, and he's so funny. He won't always say stuff. He'll just give you a response like this. The hand, that's all you get from him. And it's like, what does that mean? Okay. You know, I don't know. So anyways, so I had that in my head, and I was just like, the weirder thing was, why am I on a bunk bed? I don't know why I was perplexed by that, right?
Right.
So here's where it starts getting interesting. A few days later, I have that eureka moment. Oh my God, a bunk bed. My sister and I had bunk beds when I was between the ages of 3 and 5. And I used to always jump on the top bunk. Now this dream is weird. What was that? You know. So now we've been really fortunate to go to a bunch of conventions. We see a lot of good people. Some people, you see them at every event. And that's, for example, what I mean, some people, mediums, you know, and there's a real lovely lady. We go to our last event of the year at the time, and that was the Haunted Old Mill in Dundee, Michigan. And I always want to go to a medium, but I don't want to go who Dale goes to because I just don't want to. It doesn't seem right. No, it doesn't seem.
My mediums are not good enough.
I don't want to. It's not. I don't want to be a conflict of interest or whatever. I don't. My thinking is just that's his deal. I don't want to step on it. I guess I don't know.
Right.
I don't even understand my own thinking sometimes. So I need to find someone that resonates with me. And
yes.
There's a woman there that I've seen at a bunch of these events. Mary Bassett is her name. And here's another where it gets interesting. Again, I sit down with her, ask her for a reading, and then she asked me if I have any questions. I'm like, yeah, I had this dream. And maybe you could tell me about it. I don't know. So she goes, well, actually, yeah, you know what? I would suggest you have a hypnosis regression. Okay. How do I do it? How can you do it? Yes. Can you set it up? Yeah, absolutely. Blah, blah, blah. So we make plans to do it. Here's what's interesting. I love Mama Mary too, Amy, for sure. What's not to love about her, for sure.
Absolutely.
She's the best. So Mary she works with PTSD, experiencers, abductees, all this sort of stuff. She's been involved in MUFON for years. All this, I don't know this. I had no idea. Again, it found me. I'm being, brought to this stuff. So
you're trusting the breadcrumbs, though, Michael John. You need to give yourself some credit in that too. You're trusting the breadcrumbs and following through with it.
So we do the regression. It was interesting. The short version, I mean, they took me away. They took me up through the wall of my bedroom, down a black and white tiled hallway. What's interesting, I find out in the last few, 6 months or so, it's not uncommon for abductees, experiencers, to be around or walking down a black and white tiled hallway of all things. Again, I don't watch. I'm not influenced by anything. I'm not watching stuff or getting ideas. So I like the confirmations, I guess. It's like, wow, they blow my mind, So we end up going through the light. And next thing you know, I'm sitting at a table. The 3 beings are with me, but there's a 4th. And this one's little, but it's the boss, if that makes sense. We're talking in mind speak. We're not using our words, our mouths. And here's where it kind of, it's a little weird. I mean, we're sitting there, we're eating what looks like soup, giant palm leaves, we're eating these, some sort of vegetation. But they're telling me they're really proud of me and they've been watching me for lifetimes. And they want to make sure I'm okay. And I didn't realize what that meant until after, because when I was around that age, I was beat up by a half dozen kids, a couple years older than me. And then back in those days, I mean, my sister just happened to be there. It was up the road from our house. She ran and got my mom. My mom came and got me, brought me home. But back in that day, in our day, You know, we didn't talk to anybody. It was, oh, go lay down, you'll be all right, go sleep. It's pretty much what happened. So it's interesting. They say, oh, we want to make sure you're okay. I just 100%. That's why they asked that. You know, in my mind. And it's not poor me. It's just life happens. Whatever. You know, got beat up. Oh well. So yeah. So now that happens. And like I mentioned earlier, you know, I've had that drug addiction. I battled that. I've been through rehabs. I've been homeless, man. I've been homeless from this. You know, that's okay. And that's okay. You know, I've been in the psych ward a few times, attempted suicide. You know, all part of the journey. My mental health has gone up and down because of the drug use, all that. And whatever, we all got this stuff, right? It's okay. And none of this is poor me again. I'm sharing the story. So all of a sudden, but when I was in whether I was in a rehab or in the psych ward, I was still plotting and scheming. Oh, when I get out, I'm gonna get money and I'm gonna go use. I don't care. I'm always figuring it out. All of a sudden, doesn't it shut off? I just don't care no more. I literally don't. It was consumed me for years. That's all I ever thought about. You know, I don't care anymore. I can't explain any more than that. It's not a thought. I've changed gone back. You know, I eat a lot better. I'm a cold shower guy. You know, unless maybe December, January, it's a bit much. We're slowing down on that because that's ridiculous. But I love my cold showers to raise my vibration. I thought for some reason I'm doing things unbeknownst to me, you know. And then again, let's go back, and I like to do this. Your life will never be the same. And all these little things have been happening, you know, for me, the changes, you know. So Gail and I we like to go for rides as well. When we can out to the county. And, you know, I think Jason mentioned, when you mentioned Bigfoot earlier, there's a Bigfoot or Dogman. I love my cryptids. I love Bigfoot, but Dogman embraces my soul, man. That's my guy, you know.
So
yes.
Apparently there is a Dogman sighting outside of Guelph.
How do you know the dates and stuff? Or hold on, I'm gonna write that down so I look it up later.
Yeah, I have tried to research it. We need to pick Michelle DeRoche's ear a little bit. She's the one that mentioned it to me. So somewhere outside of Elora.
You know, I'm gonna ask. His name is Vic Cundiff. He hosts Dogman Encounters Radio. He'll know.
Yep, there you go.
That's a guy I personally would ask.
And Mel is saying Thunder Bay.
Wow.
Good thing we're going there in October.
Really, Mel? More to talk about with you then. I love it. Okay. Awesome.
I don't know. I think Thunder Bay.
We're not going to Thunder Bay now, Dale?
Nope. You go to Thunder Bay. I'll stay right here. I want nothing to do with Dogman.
So we'll wrap this up here for you on the story. Gail and I go for a ride, and so as we're driving along, anytime I see a tree line, oh my God, Dale, look at that tree line, bro. There's got to be a cryptid out there. You know, if there's deer, if there's running water, it's a food source. That's it. That's all. You know. So we were driving around. We had a crossroads, and there's a bakery in front of us. The bakery was called the Simple Bakery or the Sample Bakery. And I remember I commented on it, and then I realized where we're at. I go, dude, there's a graveyard just up the road. My aunt and uncle used to live right next to it. Let's go there.
Right.
And then Dale looks at the time and goes, hey, it's 4:44. So now I go like this. I go, Dale, dude, there's the bakery. There's the Sample Bakery. He's like, what? So now the bakery was in front of me, but now it's off to my left. He says, hey, it's 4:44. I noticed the bakery on my left. What? He's like, what are you talking? I'm like, how did we get here? What? What do you mean? So now we're both dumbfounded in a moment in time here. We're like, what? How did we get back to the bakery? And we're in a different direction. So it's a quiet car ride for a bit. Then we start talking. And do you think we lost time? What? Nah. You know what? Let's call Deb and RJ DeRoos. And Dale's my Google. Whenever we have guests, I'm terrible. Life is busy, whatever. Most of the time, Dale, who's this? Well, this is Carolyn Shellhorn. She's a medium. She's been doing it 18 years. He's my Google, you know. He's also, hey, let's call Deb and RJ. Of course, he's got them on speed dial in his truck. this crazy guy, right? For sure he does, right? Of course. What am I thinking? Yeah, they're right there. Who do you want? Who do you want to talk to? Andrea Perrin, okay, version button number 2. You know what I mean? Like, come on. So, anyways.
Oh, she's button number 1. Sorry.
Yeah, of course. So, and to their credit, I mean, the good friends there, they answered, and we had a chat with them about what happened. So then RJ was saying, okay, listen, when you guys get home, I want you to write an account of what happened. Don't collaborate with each other. Send it to us separately, and then when we get both yours, we'll get online in a video chat and we'll talk about it. So we did that, and RJ did the coordinates. You'll get the RJ. You guys basically would have drove through farmland and stuff. There's no way you should have ended up back that way in 15, 20 minutes or whatever it was. Right. He had figured out time and everything, So I had Mary did another regression with me. And we went on the show, The Voices of Contact. And they've been really supportive of me in my journey. I do the voiceover for their show at the beginning. If you ever watch it, you'll hear me doing all the narration at the beginning. Just a side plug. Anyways, so we did that. The panel talks about the regression. That's the show. So I was on there with them so I could answer any questions. And then we did a second show for someone else. Now later, I think the next day, I'm here in my apartment, and my God, Carrie Lynn, I did one of these. I was like, what? Oh my God. I saw Gray outside my window. He's like Spider-Man. He's like this, right? And I just caught him. And I live on the 3rd floor, by the way. Okay. So I reach out to Mary and I tell her, whoa, I just got spooked out. Blah, blah, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. Well, send me a picture of what it looked like. I was like, okay. So I Google and I try to find something. I send it. She sends me a picture back of something that looks pretty darn close to it. It's a creepier looking gray. It's not your traditional gray. It almost looks angry. I can't describe it. It's just angrier looking. There's different looks, right? I'm sure you know what I mean. And she sent me a paragraph from a book, an abductee experiencer book. And it starts going down. And okay, before that, I also meet a starseed at an event. I'm instantly best friends with this guy. I have 3-4 hour conversations with him. His name is Mark Herzog. And I'm not a God guy, but he got me into Archangel Michael. That's about as close I get to God. I'll talk to Archangel Michael. He said he wanted to do a love prayer over me one time on the phone, the first time we spoke, to make me feel better about something. And I remember my cats came out of nowhere and both laid on either side of me.
Oh, yeah. Cats love that energy.
It was incredible. That made me go, there's something about this guy,
Yeah.
And I felt amazing, whatever. So now, when I do my stuff, if I'm hands on my mirrors, whatever I'm doing, Archangel Michael will get involved. If I'm trying to manifest or asking for help or whatever's going on, he's included in the list. Anyway, so the paragraph, you're going to start, you'll be making life changes. You'll start dropping habits that no longer serve you. You'll be making life changes to better you, to increase your vibration, to get away from them, because their vibration is at a lower frequency. The higher your vibration, the more you get away from them. And also, they hate the name Archangel Michael. Right, exactly. Your expression said everything I
right?
Yes. Again, let's go back one more time. Your life will never be the same.
Yeah.
So yes, what did I experience? All of that and more. And it's still ongoing. I had her do it a second time. She goes, now I'm going to bring you up to 5D. And there's things I can't talk about. I have non-disclosure agreements. I have some amazing things happening in my life. When I turn around, things are happening like this right now. Just very positive things,
That's what I mean. The more that you allow, and that is what I wrote. Intention, manifesting, our connection to the other side, trust, and woohoo. That's what I wrote on my paper for play kids. When you start trusting and you just follow those breadcrumbs, like just more and more yumminess and the people and holy cow, pinch me. What the heck was just that? And I find like people can get super airy fairy and all love and lighty, which are great. I don't resonate with those words super well, but I get it.
Yeah.
I find when we get knocked off kilter, we don't sit in that muck as long. We recognize it, and then we can shift out of it a little quicker. So because it's still regular everyday life, and we're going to have stuff that happens. So we have that, and then we shift. Not only can we shift, if we find that we're struggling, we've got that, not all of us have Andrea Perrin as number one speed dial, but we have that speed dial person, right? That we go, hey. And that's why that community is so important. But I really do believe it comes when we are at our most vulnerable, when we are at our lowest, and we're ready to take accountability.
Right. And exactly. And intention, and I say that in my book a lot, is intention is everything, whatever it is.
It is.
Whether you want to use a Ouija board and all you have is a piece of paper and a shot glass, you want it to work, it's going to work. Intention is everything. If you believe it, you make it so. You put it out there, all of a sudden things start happening, whether it's synchronicities or opportunities, people, places, and things. It's mind-blowing. It really is.
So I'm just going to take a second to do our station ID, and there is a question for you. So we'll get to that as well too. If you are just joining us in the chat, or you're just listening in, you are listening to the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7. This is Spirit Switchboard, and I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. And with me today is the Paranormal Voice out of Windsor, Dale Quigley and Michael John. Thanks for being here today, guys.
Oh, happy to be here. It's been amazing.
Well, we haven't even got to the snacks question yet, so just wait.
Oh, my favorite thing, snacks.
Mine too is all about the snacks. I am the snack person when we do our investigations. Like, I make sure that we are loaded up and ready to go. So don't talk about the snacks yet. We're just gonna wait, because this is a question from Jason that I want to address before I take it somewhere else. Jason is asking, Michael, have you ever burned the incense and taken pics to see if you could see the images of the beings with the black hair? Have you set that intention before you light them?
Yeah. Jason, I got to say, ooh, I got to be dramatic. Ooh, what a question. That's a great question.
I call it stink eye type it. Oh.
I've never thought of that. I'm gonna pursue that. Actually, I will keep you posted. Yeah. Brilliant. Oh my God. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm gonna write it down, Michael.
Yeah. And it's setting the intention. And I had an aha moment with Lily Nova. Have you guys heard of her? She was on. Not last week, 2 weeks ago. Lily Nova, so Starseed as well, and does communication with extraterrestrials in our star family. Pulls in. She started off with astrophotography and takes all kinds of pictures. And so we were talking, and then she was talking about her Sasquatch guide. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, let's back up. And she's like, so she was in meditation, and here I am, like, why had I not ever thought of that? Why have I not thought to tap in, setting that intention to tap into that collective consciousness? Because if we're all tapped into that collective consciousness, then why wouldn't I have done that?
Right.
Thank you, Lily Nova. So I'm on a mission now. Like,
that's as a side story. So there's a gentleman, maybe you heard of him, Mike Patterson, out of Kawartha Lakes, Ontario. He runs Sasquatch Ontario, and this gentleman has audio of them saying his name, among other things. He's had them write on notes of paper. He's a different approach. He puts cameras out for them to use.
Oh yeah, amazing.
And one thing he's big on, they gift him marbles. Okay. And yes, met him. Michelle says she's met him. He's a great guy, Michelle. He really is. We've had him on our show a couple times. I'm a friend of his as well. I'm proud to say that. I found him by chance. Good old the YouTube algorithm. I found him one night. Anyways, the marble thing. I'm going to tell you this. So I've had Sasquatch here a couple times. I've had it, as Mike says. So I have disembodied voices here. You know when you get to that twilight state where you're all
Perfect.
asleep?
Yeah.
Okay. I was laying in bed and I heard this word, and I was like, what I thought it was. I started writing it down a few different times, and I looked it up. And of course, it was outside my bedroom. They know they can't come in my bedroom.
Yes, I
You're
have the
not
same
allowed.
rule.
Yeah. Okay. So, and disembodied voices, they always sound like they're up the hall anyway, 99.9% of the time. They're never right in front of you. They're just off, but you hear them, So anyways, it's one of those. And it came up, it was a Turkish word for Outlander or something. So that night, again, here we go. I don't know what we are in. Is this a world or is it a matrix or what it is? The synchronicities. Facebook news feed. There's a girl saying she heard a disembodied voice right in her ear. Mike Patterson is commenting, something about, if you ask for good, you'll get good. If you ask for bad, you'll get bad, which is true, I believe. Anyways, I sent him a letter saying, hey, speaking of disembodied voices, I heard this name today or a word today or whatever. He goes, no, that's a name. I go, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, remember how you were asking when I was on the show last time? Because I'll do that a lot. I'll put an intention out live. Dale knows this, to whatever someone's background is, whether it's a spirit or a Sasquatch. I'd be like, hey, if anybody's listening, aliens, whatever, on the other end of the interview, I'd give you permission to come to my place and let me know you're around. So anyways, Mike basically reminded me of myself doing that when he was on our show. He goes, that is a Sasquatch youth introducing itself. And the name was Gunayden. I'll never forget it. Gunayden, Gunayden, Gunayden. So now Mike gets gifted marbles. He's gotten thousands of marbles from the Sasquatch.
Amazing.
It's the thing, yeah. So Ronnie LeBlanc is on Expedition Bigfoot.
Right.
We met Ronnie at our first time at UFO Contact Convention. And we get talking, and I was like, hey, have you ever been gifted a marble? He goes, yeah. He goes, actually, there's a chapter about it in my book. A guy I met from where you guys are from, his name's Mike Patterson. I'm like, get out of here. Oh, my God.
Synchronicities.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So he was talking about how Mike taught him how to, focus with them and set the intention. And he's talking about his experiences, how he's found marbles. So I remember I had put it out there here a couple times and I forgot about it. Literally it'd been months. And then I started going back to the gym last October, and I was looking for a fanny pack. I was like, oh, I have a fanny pack. I know it's in the closet. So I remember I grabbed it, I opened it up, and I opened up the big pouch, the big portion of it, just to see if there's anything in it. Nothing in it. Then I opened a little part. It's like a change purse in front. Isn't there a blue marble in the front? Now, let's be realistic. Maybe when my wife was here, she put it in there. When she hung it up, I don't know. Maybe I did and I forgot. But I don't know. I'm going to say there's that 90% chance that was a Sasquatch gift. And I'd rather go on the heavier side of that, But we got to be realistic as well, right?
Well, but I like that. I like the fantastical. I'm okay with the fantastical. I am okay with it because, again, it's your truth, right? And it's your story. Yes. I think the thing that I wrote down was intention does matter, but our thoughts, words, and actions have to be in alignment. It all has to be in alignment. You can't speak something and be Vulcan mind meld with me because it's salty. Salty word I'm thinking. It can't be that way and then expect that good, like your thoughts, words, and actions have to be in alignment, and then
got to be pure.
Power to that intention, right?
They got to be pure.
Right.
Yeah. So Kathy is asking why marbles, and my friend The Wiz, who lives in Washington and has Sasquatch in his backyard behind his cabin, he is asking where the heck does Bigfoot get marbles? They shopping at the Five and Dime. Well, here's the thing though. I have seen little kids that are 5, 6, 7 want to play on a beach in the middle of a Canadian winter when it snows outside and you're not getting it. And they've manifested sand in their bathwater. So we are powerful manifestors. And if they are interdimensional, if whatever, if it is a marble that is getting the attention, why couldn't they manifest a marble?
Right. Right.
And if
Now,
you didn't, my dad lives on one of the reserves outside of Sault Ste. Marie, and he used to hang an old cast iron pan in one of the trees for the kids when I brought them there to visit, and they would shoot the
BB guns?
no, sir. Marbles, slingshot. He would set them up with a slingshot and a big bucket of marbles. So if there's like Sasquatch behind my dad's house, they're picking up the marbles that the kids have shot from the slingshot, trying to hit the cast iron pan.
So I can't tell you why marbles. I can only tell you that that's a phenomenon that he experiences. And then I know Ronnie somehow managed that to happen, and I've managed that to happen. I mean, he's even got stories where, marbles fall out of thin air in his apartment. He's had people witness it, eyewitnesses, while that's happened in his home.
I had a metal washer, like a metal washer with a hole in the middle, drop on my kitchen floor. I heard it. Ting.
Wow.
Boom. I was like doing my thing because my coffee needed coffee that morning. So we was making pot 2. And then there was like a washer in the middle of the floor. I posted it somewhere. I posted it on social media somewhere.
I actually believe if you go back and watch our episodes with Mike Patterson, I think that was one of the questions we did ask him, like, what is the significance with marbles? And he did give us his thoughts on it, because even like he's even told us that a marble that he was gifted would be one color, but then it would be a different color later on.
So that's fascinating too, because I do seances all the time out of the house. Love it. I am taking my table. Actually, today I started doing it. I don't know if I can show you. We'll try. We'll see. Love it. And we do. I'll take Polaroids while we're doing the seance.
Nice.
And so I've had shadow figures show up in the photos, but sometimes the photos in the Polaroids have nothing at nighttime, but then you check in the morning and stuff shows up.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So you have to make sure that you're checking the next day too. So I have this big table, and I was like, I don't know. I have this beautiful spirit board, but on the table, sometimes we all can't reach proper. So I wanted to make the whole, I don't know if you'll be able to see.
Oh, wow.
So I started painting it today, so I got to finish it by tomorrow night.
That's a table?
Yeah, that's the table. So we're going to use it, and I'll write my sigils on the bottom underneath. I'll put my sigils and protection stuff underneath the table.
Okay, what kind of sigils are you, may I ask, or is that personal?
So it is personal, but
sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's okay. It's so whatever, some of my own creation, right? So I'll create some of my own sigils as well too, and the ones that I feel in alignment with that are about protection as well too. So opening up for communication and protection and what and where I want that information to come from is what I'll put underneath.
Okay.
But we've done that. So I have my dear friend who helps me with all of my emails as well too. And booking people for me and all of that stuff. She was actually the one that taught me about sigils. So when we moved into this place 7 years ago, we actually put sigils on the wall with homemade chalk as well too, before we painted all the walls. Like we use sigils for everything. There's sigils underneath the tap. So the water that's coming through, there's a sigil with the water coming through. I'm very big on its intention as well too, right?
Yes.
For us ADHD people that has squirrely energy, it helps us focus. So we're just gonna stay focused. Gives us something to. Yeah, Icelandic magic, sure. And you know what? I think for me, I don't always question the why this stuff is happening. I'm okay with the why. I figure if I'm needing to know more, they're going to give me more.
Right.
Thank you so much for the experience. This was awesome. Bring it on.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with more. Yeah. Yeah. Stowe snacks.
For sure.
We're shifting gears quickly. Sorry.
Okay.
You're in the car heading for your road trip? get to the corner left or right, stop at the gas station, gas up, and you come up with what kind of snacks? What's the go-to snack?
Ooh. Does
it depend on what time it is? At the beginning of the trip or the end of the late night snack? Is there a difference?
No, not really. For me, I mean, see, it's more of a mood thing. Like, what am I in the mood for? But
Right.
I think my go-to thing is like Timbits. I love Timbits. When I'm on the road, it seems like every time me and Michael John go out for one of our drives, it's like Timbits. It's Timbits, and now it's just like every time if I'm on the road traveling, it's like I'll get coffee and a big box of Timbits, because if it's a long ride, like a 9-hour ride, like I took to Connecticut when I went down to the Warrens Paracon, or even to the Sage Paracon. It's like I love my Timbits.
Even the powdered jelly ones?
Yes, especially the powdered jelly ones.
Come on.
Yum. I'm not sure about the powdered jelly ones, but I'm all for the Timbits, right? I'm all for Timbits.
The chocolate coconut, if they're warm out of the oven,
yes,
gaggle of those, no problem for just those. I'd be quite happy. And I'm weird this way. I've been shunned for this, but I love the plain old fashioned ones.
Really, eh?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. But now for me, for a snack, it's a few things, and I'm going based on what I've been into as of late. One thing would be Red Bull for sure. That's a must. Coffee's kind of gone on the sidelines for me. I don't really touch coffee anymore.
Right.
And I've been on it for a long time. And lately, Dale and I used to love Diet Coke or regular Coke. Now I'm getting into Sprite and 7-Up for some weird thing. I don't know why. Also,
yes, Kim, you do need those Timbits in your life, and we will make a way to make that happen. We'll find a way.
We'll mail you some, Kimberly.
We'll bring some. We will bring some to the MI Paracon with us.
Peanut butter cups, they're not a bad choice at all. Not a bad choice at all. I would also, for protein's sake, I don't mind, beef jerky. Beef jerky
right.
Last 6 months, I've really got into that. Corn nuts, since I used to travel as a professional wrestler, corn nuts has been a thing. I love those. What else? Those would be the staples. If, let's go, I'm going to grab this, that. Oh, and in the last couple months, I've been really getting into orange Slurpees.
Oh, that's interesting too. Yeah. So Kim, hang on a second. I'm going to help you guys out with this. So Kim is just saying, bring to the Michigan Paracon and chocolate, please and thank you. So I'm going to get you some Purdy's chocolate, and we're going to send some Purdy's down.
No, that's not the chocolate she's talking about.
I'm sending it anyway. I am sending it anyway.
So what's been going on is so usually whenever I go to the events.
Sorry.
So I had an event here in 2015.
Where's
and
here?
Jeff Belanger was in Windsor. I put on my very first Paracon in 2015. It was called the Rose City Paracon. I had Jeff Belanger. I had Katrina Weidman. I had Stephen and Riley Black from Black Paranormal. They were from Massachusetts at the time. And then I had a good friend of mine, John Moore, and Archbishop Plato was here. And so at the event, there was one of our vendors was selling these chocolate bars, Simply Delicious chocolate bars.
Oh, they're to die for.
Well, so Jeff has been addicted to these chocolate bars ever since he bought one back in 2015. So now whenever I'm at an event, I bring a case of them with me up to the event. So when a lot of when I'm going over to the States, everybody's like, are you bringing the chocolate with you? And I'm like, yeah. Now Jeff has a particular name for it, and I won't say it on the air, but it's funny. So now everybody will message me. Are you bringing the chocolate?
Up and just not say it.
Yeah, there
There we go. That's it.
Winner, Daniel.
Yes.
But yeah, so they everybody's addicted to the Simply Delicious chocolate bars.
For sure. So there is, have you tried the peanut butter pretzel bars from Purdy's or the campfire bars?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
I love Purdy's. I lived in Vancouver for 7 years, and that's where Purdy's is. And yes. I've been to the factory and had the opportunity to basically drown myself in their chocolate bars, and I love them. They are one of the best chocolate bars out there. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will bring Kim one of those too and see which one is better, Simply Delicious or Purdy's. Maybe she'll be addicted to both.
As we all should be.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong.
Facts, period. Chocolate, so fun. I was thinking about the coffee and the pop thing too. I did. I asked Archangel Michael to download the DNA blueprint for my healthiest body so I could process energies with more grace and ease. It took about a 3-day process, but I was really struggling with when people were coming through with any head-related traumas or brain cancer, anything like that was really tossing me for a loop. It was not easy for me. So I said, I'm still willing to do the work, but I need something to shift. And I did that, I think about 11 years ago. And I just do not crave pop. I do not have I love chocolate, but it's not necessarily like a craving that I can't curb, it shifted a lot of things for me. But I think that happens the more that you shift your vibration, the foods that you align with also shift and change, right?
Yeah.
Michelle is just asking, do you guys have an ideal paranormal outing? What would be your unicorn? What would be your unicorn be if you could choose? Dogman, UFO, famous apparition.
So what would our unicorn be? Meaning, who would our end all be all if we could experience it, find it, go after it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Dogman in a heartbeat for me, man. And it's funny, I mentioned Vic Cundiff earlier from Dogman Encounters Radio, and he does so much in the background for people that have unfortunately experienced these cryptids and live to tell about it. I was like, I would love to see one day. I'd love to go. And he literally got mad during the interview. How dare you? You don't ever want to deal with this. It's a terrible thing. I deal with people all the time. Like, he was passionately upset, So, I still would want to, but then I always think about Vic and the way he was, when I said that, when I voiced that, I want to do that. To me, it was just like a traipse in the woods, or let's go sit with the Ouija board. However, he's seen so much. He's got a different point of view on it. But to answer Michelle's question, yes, it would be Dogman all day long.
Dale?
Oh, with me, I think I would be more for the UFO. As far as apparitions go, I know she said famous apparitions, but really, what do we consider famous? Do we want to see somebody who? But at the same time, do I want to see Elvis Presley apparition? Probably.
Oh, I've been there, done that.
But like I said, yeah, seeing an apparition, you see one, you see them all.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I would think I would lean more towards the UFO encounter, just because I've learned so much more about the UFO and being connected with galactics and stuff like that. I just think that would just be a very amazing experience because.
So if you could ask them any questions, what questions would you want to ask them if you had that opportunity to connect with an ET?
An ET? Oh, what would be the question? That is actually a really good one. I mean, out of the thousands that I would want to sit down with them, I probably first would be like, just how long have you guys been around?
Yeah, that's a
Because
great question.
as we see now, I mean, when you start really going back and seeing documentaries about Egyptian tombs,
Yeah.
like they have what they believe are drawings of what looks like a UFO and aliens on the walls of Egyptian tombs. So it's like, how far does this date back? And I think that would be the first question. Is like, when was the first time you ever visited this planet?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Do you have a list of places that you'd want to go to?
For me, number one. What's that? Sorry.
I kind of don't. Like, I think there's some neat places, but I have experiences all the time. So I'm like, if I'm meant to get there, I'm going to have these experiences. I don't necessarily have like a big list, but I just wondered if you guys did.
I do. I do have what I call the paranormal bucket list, and of course, right at the top of that list would to be visit Alcatraz. And I mean, it's not necessarily to do ghost hunting because I have experiences wherever I go as well. So
Yeah.
it is one of those things, but it is a place that there is so much. I've known so much about. You've heard stories after stories, and I've known people that have been there, and they've showed me photos of old solitary confinement cells, and it looks like somebody's looking back at them through the window. But I think that to me, Alcatraz would be the one because I have this really weird fascination with prisons.
Not weird. But the remote viewing, you can do this.
Remote viewing. Here we go. Actually, when me and Michael John had our experiences on January 1st of 2003, when we were driving in the car and we were getting all kinds of synchronicities through time and whatnot, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about remote viewing and how we would really like to hone in on that skill of being able to remote view. And of course, Michael John was always saying like he would love to remote view into a forest to see if he could find Bigfoot that way. And I'm like, you know what? I never even thought about that, but
that's what Lily Nova was saying, right? So I'm like, I had not even thought of it that way, and I use remote viewing every day, and I had not thought to do any of that, like to tap in that way. So,
well, when we're up in Thunder Bay, I'd like to really pick your brain and to find somebody who could really hone me in on and helping me to get to be able to start practicing. I know it's a lot about getting to be able to really put yourself in what I call the zone or a deep meditation. And I know different people that we've talked to about it. Some people can do it by addresses, some people can do it by pictures, some people can do it just by coordinates, which is, I guess, the military way of when the military people were trained to do it. That's how they were taught to do, is by coordinates, not just by, okay, this is where I want to go. Or they would give somebody a location and they would put something there and everybody had to find out what was there.
More or less, it's discipline, right? It's just a matter of practice.
A muscle and a practice. It's a muscle and a practice. I find with any intuitive development, everyone gets very focused about I can't, me, this, and I gently remind people that it's not just you. You are connecting in with your divine guides in this bigger collective consciousness. So asking your guides to help you get to that space and help give you information as well too. Help pull you to that place and help give you 2 pieces. Start with 2 and all of your senses. See, hear, feel, taste, and smell. 2 pieces of information. See, hear, smell, taste, sound, like, and start that way, and then just keep doing it and building. Like, I think we forget that we've got this team of people that want to help. We just need to give them permission to do it.
Right, exactly. I just recently started calling back upon my ancestors, which would be my family members. That's my word to bring them all. Just, hey, hello, ancestors, instead of saying, hey, grandma, grandpa, Uncle Tony, Uncle Tom, that kind of thing. I could do that. It takes a while. I find ancestors is quicker. I'm going to answer your question from earlier. Land between the lakes, Kentucky and Tennessee, miles of acres of land. Dogman and Bigfoot thrive there. Almost guaranteed an experience out there. That's a place I would love to go, and a place I saw on Ghost Adventures. Might have been the second season, the Ancient Ram's Inn. I would love to go there. Other than that, I don't really have.
Is it still?
I believe it's still up. I could be wrong.
Yes.
But otherwise, I'm not unlike yourself, Carolyn. I don't really have a place, just because I don't know. It's just I'm more. I do my stuff here. The things I do when I do them, and it comes and goes, and I just kind of I'm so enthralled, and I share my stories, but more importantly, I get to hear other people's stories. That's what I really love now. It's just the big picture of everyone and everything paranormal wise. That's what I really enjoy. If that makes sense, I'm caught up in that.
Yeah. How it comes back in. So a few comments I want to get to. Dale, I don't know what you got going on behind you, but the light keeps flashing like off and on. If it's phone light,
it's probably the TV.
So people were commenting about the lights behind you. My friend The Wiz is saying, John, you have a spirit behind you. There was something that moved, Dale, that was rather interesting, and I marked the time down. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at it and see what flew.
Was it?
You saw that too?
I marked it down, 1:17. I marked out, I time stamped it.
Was it a shadow?
Yeah, no, I saw that and I was like, did I really just see that? It was like there's an anomaly that just flew like right this side of me and just went boom.
So
I was like,
yep, I time stamped it. I marked it down so that we can go back at it. 1:17. We're gonna check it out later.
So I'm not surprised to hear there's someone behind me. There's usually someone here, like all the time. And he's The Wiz. Is that?
Yeah.
He's not the first to mention that. There's someone here with you right now. Thank you for confirming that. I thank you.
So everyone else is saying that they saw it too. Denise saying she couldn't find the time. Mel saw it. Wiz is just sharing that he would like to visit the old castles of Scotland.
Oh my God! Right? Those would be neat.
oh, you have to go there with Rick McCollum. He is like the guru.
I think Rick is there right now.
Possibly. I mean, if he had his way, he would move there because he loves Scotland so much. Both his books are all
September or something, isn't he? I think he's trying to organize spring in September.
Yeah. Because I know both his books are all based off the experiences that he had, mostly in Scotland. I mean, some of the ones were the ones that happened to him doing Hollywood Ghost Hunters, but at the same time, a lot of his experiences and were all about his travels through Scotland and all the castles he was explored.
I think that us going up to Northern Ontario is such an untapped place. I'm super excited about, so for the Lake Superior Paracon, Jeff Belanger is going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm having a brain fart. Let's keep going. You guys help me out. Can you remember?
I believe Shane Pittman's going to be there.
Shane Pittman, yes.
Oh, Shane Pittman. Yep.
And then there's the three ladies.
I think there's two now. Mal was saying I think it's two. So Beyond the Haunting.
Yes. Yeah.
The ladies from there are also going to be there. Yes, Shane Pittman. We're going to be there. Laura Lee Potvin, who is a host here with UPRN as well too. So she's got the Angel Rock on Mondays and the thing at the foot of the bed. with David Hansel on Thursday. She's also going to be there. History's Most Haunting. Chris, the UFO specialist from Winnipeg, he is also going to be there, which is great. Because Thunder Bay's got it all. It is supernatural on every level.
Yeah, that's what we hear about it. I mean, talking to Gail and Mel over the years and just listening to everything they've experienced up in Thunder Bay alone, it's like, yeah, it seems like, something good. And this is why I'm so proud of them to be able to pull off a Paracon up there, because now it's going to draw more eyes to it and get people up there exploring and everything that goes on up there. I mean, it's definitely a beautiful country up there. I've never been there myself, but I've always wanted. But I've heard lots of stories about hauntings in Thunder Bay area. I mean, it's been written in lots of
there's so much, so many stories, like north of Sault Ste. Marie, going up in that direction. Sasquatch, high strangeness. There's a lot of things. So it'll be exciting for all of us to get up there and share that with people, right?
But you got to remember, when we're up in Thunder Bay, it's not Jeff Belanger, it's Jeff Belanger. We have to make him Canadian.
No, here's the thing. I had Jeff on the show because we were talking about the book that he released last year about Krampus, and I was practicing, and it wasn't a live show. We recorded it because he was so gracious and trying to fit me into his schedule. So we did a pre-record. And I just kept saying it in my head all day. I was practicing. I knew I was going to muck it up and say Canadian. And then I mucked it up even worse. I blended it like Canadian sounding. So it was like part French, part not. So I'm like, I have to make sure I say it right when I see him in October. I have to redeem myself.
It's okay. I already told them up in Virginia that, when you cross that border, you're not Belanger, you're Belanger.
Yes.
So he's okay with that. So he knows. He goes, I'm gonna be. He goes, I can't wait.
So can you guys tell everyone who is new to you guys, who's just meeting you today, where they can find the Paranormal Voice? Where can they find it online?
Go ahead, Michael.
Well, you can find us on YouTube at the Paranormal Voice. You can find us at the Paranormal Voice Windsor Ontario's own Facebook group. It's a private group, so you'll have to answer a couple questions to get membership. We'll get you in there right away. You'll get access to all of our upcoming events, interviews, other events coming up as well. We try to share the rest of the paranormal world and ongoings there. Whatever's happening, we try to get it out there, like in the news feed as well. We also are every Saturday night at 1 a.m. on KGRA Digital. That is audio only, and that is on every streaming platform that is out there. We say KGRA Digital worldwide. It also features great radio shows such as Andrea Perrin, Devin R.J. DeRoos, Mystical Awakenings. Andrea's show is called A World Awakening, among many other great radio hosts.
Well, thank you so much for being here, guys. I know that we need to run. We kind of went over our time today. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to the UPRN Network and UFO Paranormal Network, the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. You guys have been listening to Spirit Switchboard. Next week, I have Martha Hazard Decker coming on. She wrote Paranormal Profiler. She is a former police detective, retired police detective, and a sensitive, and she will be coming on to talk about her experiences. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. Thank you for being here in the chat, and we will see you next week. Please stay in the UPRN network. Jeffrey Pritchett is up next with the Church of Mavis. Have a good night, everybody.
Happy on.